drip, drip. Came through dripping, drip, drip. Came through dripping, drip, drip. Diamonds on my wrist, they dripping.
Give me a little something to him.
Okay, and here we go. Episode 12. It's Monday night in Dripville with a very, very special guest, the editor-in-chief of the Mutstack, Mr. Mike Mutnansky. Thank you for joining the program tonight, sir.
I'm just a drip here to hang out with the two best drips on KMS by far.
Excellent. Absolutely. So the sun is out, guys. The birds are chirping. The grass is growing. Ooh. The drips are back out in the yard. We've got Mutt out here testing pH levels, so we absolutely need to get to that. We'll talk about the week that was at KMS, some basketball chatter, and everything in between. But before any of that, even if your version of saying fuck you to someone is per my last email, this will still be the most boring part of your week. So, boys, the last time we had a guest on Blind Mike, great episode, there was chatter out there saying, Blind Mike, why is he on the program? He's not a drip. Mutt, if someone comes to you and criticizes you or criticizes us, what do you have to say to them?
To me, you guys are Teflon. I mean, I think Mike's a drip. I mean, I like Mike, but he fits the drip thing perfectly. I think you guys, the guests in general on the show, I don't need them. I don't want to be here for a long part of the show. I don't want to ruin the part of the show. You guys are Russo and Princessa in their prime when you're breaking down CPAP machines and Laz parking. Like, I don't want to ruin that. I'm here to hang out for a little bit and then get out of the way because people need their drippiness. So if they're critical of guests, Mike's a drip, I'm a drip, you guys are drips, we're all dripping together.
It's a moist environment, and and now the cat's out of the bag. The company I work for, so thank you, Mutt. I never fully rolled that one out, but good start. I think people can put two and two together. It's
random parking company, yes, sir. And I mean, any parking company out there, just as a random
second largest in the world.
Oh, sorry.
Well, there you go. And mostly because you're part of it. They were minuscule before Pat Ford got involved, and then all of a sudden jumped out of nowhere.
No, before I got involved, they were a similar size. You think that I triggered a lot? Thank you, but no,
I do.
Always
I
been
really
at
do.
this stature.
You mentioned moistness. So tomorrow morning, what I want to do while the dew is still out on the grass, I got to get out there and I got to put this certain whatever it is, some seed down, or no, it's grub killer, because when the landscapers were at my house, this guy came to me when I was giving him the tip, by the way, very controversial take last week. He said, by the way, I noticed you got grubs in your yard. You're going to want to take care of that. So immediately went on Amazon, found some good grub killer, showed up yesterday. So again, while it's nice and moist, the dew is still on the tip of the blade of the grass. Tomorrow morning, I'm getting out there. I'm spreading some grub killer. Pat, you've been having some issues in the yard as well. What's going on?
Certainly. Before we roll into that, you mentioned a couple shows ago that you were using dishwash detergent and water in your yard. How did that work?
The patches that we sprayed it on are actually starting to turn more green. So that was for that like lawn moss is what they call it. It turns into like that spongy style. But then I also heard that the grubs will turn the grass into that spongy carpet like if you lift it up and there's no resistance, like you're not pulling on roots of grass, and you could lift it up and like roll it like a carpet. That's evidence of grubs as well.
Interesting. Okay, I was more just curious about how that worked out. So I'm glad that worked. But
it's working. There's a big community online. All right, Pat.
Understood. Reddit communities left to right. No, going back to what you said, the lawn has been absolute disaster this year. I usually have a firm grasp of this. My blood heritage is of a landscaper. My father was born in the grass and he mows lawns for a living. It's been a fucking train wreck. There's spots everywhere, crabgrass, weeds I've never seen before. I thought I was picking up a poop the other day for one of my dogs. It was some sort of stick material. I have a lot of work to do. But Mutt, it seems like you're kind of on top of things this year, no?
Well, listen, I'm going to give John some credit first. This is a really good time of year, late May, early June in New England, to put the grub killer down. I'm a GrubX guy. I get the big, huge bag from your local, no ads, so local big box store. And I put it down. I wasn't thinking this week, but it's about that time to put it down, so the timing is good. I know you're having a grass problem, Pat. Have you done the soil testing yet? I want to start at a very basic of this. Have you started? Have you gone to UMass and gotten your soil tested there in your yard?
University of Massachusetts?
Okay. So when I bought our house in 2014, okay, we bought this house. The lawn was a disaster here in Chelmsford. And so for a couple of years, I thought I had a grasp on it, getting a little better. And 3 years in, 2017, just really no progress. I had to look in the mirror and say, this is not working out.
Mm-hmm.
And my father said, you can test your soil and send it to UMass, and they'll send you a soil, like a composition breakdown of what's going on with your soil.
It's like getting a blood panel.
Yeah, it's a blood panel for your soil. So what you do is you go to different parts of the yard, and you have to put it in these bags, right? And you mail it to UMass with it's like $20 or $30. And like 4 weeks later, or 3, whatever it was, you get this full email report back in like better than PDF form, like bar graph form. How is your lawn doing? And I pulled up mine just to kind of give you an idea of how bad mine was. Our calcium levels, boys. You were
lacking calcium.
So they want your optimum range to be between 1,000 and 1,500, per square foot. Ours was 433. We were struggling. In fact, it was in the very low. In the bar graph they gave us, it was very low. And so this woman suggested we needed lime big time. Okay, big time lime issue. Lime raises it, gets the pH better. Calcium's going to help out there. She told me I needed, and this was kind of stunning, 1,575 pounds of lime to get the pH levels in my grass to the optimum level.
Where does one get that much lime?
You do it in twice a year, early spring and then fall. I did about 400 pounds per season. That's 10 40-pound bags. What? You get the big bags at the big box store. Get yourself a nice one of those what you would call it. But it's a drop spreader, rotary spreader. Mm-hmm. And you're just putting our backyard and front yard are about the same. So I was able to split it up, 5 bags in the front, 5 in the back. I did that for 3 or 4 years. And I got to tell you, that test put my yard, it's the best yard in the neighborhood. I hate to say it to my neighbors who are definitely listening. They're huge drip fans. My wife is not a big fan of me recently for a lot of reasons.
But the yard's not one of them.
I heard her brag to somebody. Look how great the lawn's looking for Mike. Like shit, that was a big moment for me. I'm advising you, Pat, start with the soil test, because then you can figure out what you need. Maybe your pH is too high or too low. In our case, we needed some magnesium as well, which again, the lime was a big help there. She suggested a certain type of fertilizer, like the 10-10-10 fertilizer versus the 10-0-9 fertilizer. It was a huge help, well worth the $20. And I think that's where you should probably start to kind of see what's going on with your soil, and then sort of move forward from there. That's my first suggestion.
Question. When you have to put certain things down, do you have to wait like a 30-day period? So you put the lime down. Do you then have to wait a certain amount of time before you put another product down?
Ooh, good question.
Lime, what I've been told, and again, this is through the online communities, which are very helpful, and I've asked some people, lime you can put down, it's really no factor in anything else. There are some chemicals, we're trying to grow a bunch of grass in the backyard this year. I can't do the crabgrass halts there because that interferes with trying to grow the grass. So you have to let that grow first, deal with some weeds, and then take care of those in the summer. But with the lime, if your pH levels are an issue, you're trying to balance that number, because that really made our soil healthy. We got those much better roots for the grass system. You can actually feel it. You're talking about feeling it. Much stronger roots now, much less patchiness, and it's helped other overseeding over the last couple of years grow. So I first thing first, get that soil test. I cannot stress that enough.
I feel like I've been looking at it wrong the whole time. I've been looking at the grass as the grass. I just keep thinking my grass is wrong. It sounds like it's the soil, which is then affected and embodied by the grass.
Big time.
I'm going to do that tomorrow. Now, I obviously have to reach out to UMass. This is on their dime, so I'm assuming, right?
They will do. I think it's a $20 or $30 charge. It's not.
I'll triple it.
It is. Maybe it's more now. This is going back to 2017, and that's sort of a first place to start. I am a big fan of aeration. If you want to talk about airing out the lawn, I'm a dethatch in the spring, aerate in the fall guy. That's been what's worked for me. I'm not saying it works for everybody, but for my schedule, get all that thatch out in the spring, let the thing breathe, and then in the fall you get the aerator. and you're pounding those holes in there and you're tearing your lawn up, but it's good for the lawn, lets it get some fresh breath in there. And when you overseed in the fall, those seeds go down in those holes you just created with the core aerator. When the core's like little turds that come out, there's chef's kiss. The seed gets down there and you get better grass growth with the aeration in the fall. But that's
I'll say that
down the road.
That was the frustrating part because I did aerate in the fall thinking that this was going to be the year. I came in and I bought this house with just all dirt. And I said, I'm going to make this beautiful. And within a year, I'll send John some before and afters to drop in here. Nice. It was night and day. And then this year has just gone full belly up. But I think I'm sarcastic a lot of times. I'm not being sarcastic at all. That's a game changer, looking at it from a soil perspective instead of a grass perspective, because I think that'll really put things into perspective. I just said perspective 3 times.
Perspective on perspective. It did for me, John. I'll say that. That was a game changer for my lawn. I've not looked back, and it's worked out pretty well. And you did the aerating yourself? Yeah, me and a neighbor or me and my dad like split an aerator for the day. It's It's not expensive at all, and I don't have a big yard. Obviously, how would I have a big yard? But I can get it done in an hour and a half. It looks bad afterwards. Like it looks like you just tore the shit out of your lawn. But then when the rain comes and it all goes away, the greenness the next spring, tremendous.
That could be a reason why my neighbor hates me too, because I think the first year we moved into this house, my dad had an aerator and brought it over and we aerated the lawn. And I think we aerated some of their lawn. But that's a good thing. That's free aeration for him. Robin's just she's a whole thing. Like this year has got much worse, me and her relationship. And it's just, I think she's being spiteful. Like right over here on the front lawn, there's we have bunnies nests, which they like dig a little hole into the grass. Yeah. And she put I'll get a picture of it. She put stakes all around it with signs only pointing on my side of the yard. Bunny's nest, do not mow, do not kill. That's what it said yesterday. Do not kill. Like she thinks I'm going to kill Bunny. Like I have a huge issue with her right now.
She wrote do not kill?
Yeah, because I understand like I could mow over that area and rabbit shoots right out the side. Like I don't want that either. I know
that I could throw at you. Rabbit deaths, especially in yards, are down 50%. So you gotta throw that at her.
Unpack that. Where is it from? How are you getting it? And why are you looking this up?
It's a callback. It's a Kentucky Derby horse racing equivalent.
Jesus Christ.
That's right. Pat, we'll cut that.
Fuck. I got.
Listen, they've made a lot of strides in rabbit. You
can't whip them anymore.
The Rabbits Association.
No, we had the same issue. They're right across the street, and they're just burrowed. And it's my favorite is in the winter when you come out after the snow, and there's rabbit poop all over the yard. It's a trail of rabbit poop and rabbit trackings everywhere. We had one of those nests, like you said, and they're little tiny little things when they're born. You're afraid you're going to kill them, but you leave it there, let them do their thing, and
they kind of go away. My dog ate one last year. Like she went out to go to the bathroom. She came back in the garage and dropped like a dead bunny in the garage. It was fucking
predator.
Yeah, we had to pull one out of my dog's mouth, and it somehow ended up getting away. Mutt, do you have dogs or a dog at all?
We have one cat. We had 2 cats. We moved into this home. Did not know there were Fisher cats and coyotes in the area, and so first night sort of let them roam around. George did not come back. Did not make it back. So
really?
We're down to 1.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
You assume me, Gutty. It was a one night thing. 1 cat went out, 1 didn't. So we're down 1 cat, and she's like 15 years old. Took her to the vet a month ago for the first time in a couple years. Full health, no problem, not an issue.
Cats rule.
So she's not going anywhere. She's sticking around. She's getting up in age. She's not as frisky as she was, but I know there's been a lot of cat slander on KMS, but we're a cat family. We're proud of it.
1,000%. They poop in a box. They don't really need anything from you. They come see you for like a half an hour a day. I got a third cat recently. My neighbor has an outdoor cat, and that cat's migrated to my yard. So I have a little bowl of food in the front. I like the cat. It's cool.
Pat, you are running an absolute zoo over there. I mean, I applaud it, but
thank you. We're not allowed to let the cat in the house, but I might one of these days. I'm already playing with fire anyway with this basketball thing with the wife, so I might as well just test the waters.
I hope my neighbors don't listen to the show because they have a dog that I'm pretty sure uses a litter box because I've never seen it outside once. It got out and it was a whole to do that they were trying to get it. But other than that, I've never seen it outside. And it's like a little Chihuahua. So couldn't you see the Chihuahua using a litter box?
Maybe it identifies as a cat.
Do you guys
Fair.
have, Pat? You have a is there a sandbox or some sort of swing set with a sandbox? Well, be careful. Neighborhood cats, guess what they like to do? Shit in that thing and treat it like a litter box. We got rid of ours almost exclusively because cats in the neighborhood were using it like it was their job, and it was thrilling to get rid of the play set and get rid of that thing because it was disgusting.
So the kids would go play, and there would just be like a fresh cat turd in there.
But they well, there was a time when they were playing in it where I'd have to go out every day and treat it like a big litter box and get like a big shovel and scoop the shit out because it's an open space. Here's what I did for a year or two. I thought worked. I actually took my own personal urine, human urine, and would again online communities.
Yep.
I would sort of put it around the sandbox to keep the cats away.
It's a coyote deterrent as well.
Oh, well, that's gone now, so we're not doing that anymore. We did.
Hey, listen, open space. I said last week that I urinated in the kids' potty last week, and I did it again this week too. We're making progress, but no, my sandbox is one of the turtles that has a lid on it.
Oh,
We have that one too. We just got it. I have to get
Really
sand
good.
though. There's no sand in it, but
When you do go, you need 2 50-pound bags. If you get 3, it'll be too much. It'll overwhelm the turtle.
jot that down.
Jot that down.
Are you guys riding or are you pushing, Mo?
I'm pushing.
I'm not.
pushing.
Yard's not big enough, but I like getting out there. The exercise is good. You put the headphones in, you listen to a KMS episode, and I'm done in like an hour. So that's
Well, I got good news for you fellas. Not good news. He's a good man. He's a good man. When my father passes away, I will have a ride-on mower for both of you. We have 3 walkers, and I'm assuming that I will inherit those when he passes. He won't. He's not going to pass for quite some time.
good.
But I'll give you each one. They're $13,000 each. So I'll give you each one of the mowers just because of this conversation here.
You called last episode, you referenced them as the folks in his profession as scrapers, or is that what you said? Landscape? Oh no, scapers.
Scapers, yeah, landscapers.
Yeah, is that a normal? Is that actual lingo, or is that just in the community?
I've never heard it necessarily, but for me, it felt hip. Like, my dad's a scaper.
It sounded awesome. I thought about it for a week straight. I had to bring it up tonight.
I didn't even notice I did it. Just it's part of my lingo. Scapers.
I was like, he grew up with it.
Is it? How does it work out with it if you have having a tough lawn year and dad's a scaper like that? Does that makes you look bad in his eyes? Is he like, Pat, what are you doing with the yard here? What's going on?
Come over to see my son, spend some time, and it's always like when my son's. It's always one of these.
Oh yeah.
It's like, all right, like I get it. He's like, listen, if you want me to come down here on a Sunday and just kind of take care of this, and each year he does like little stuff for me, but it's gotten to the point worse and worse. Like, I told you about this last year, but I'll tell you again. And like, I don't really want to even just deal with that anymore. So I'd like to just own this as my own, but I'm probably going to have to call him in at some point. It's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah. My dad's the type, like if he comes to the house, he starts opening up, like he looks in everything in my house. Like he's opening cabinets. He's looking in the fridge. He needs to make some sort of comment about something.
My mom goes out and buys things for the house because she realized that the things that I have aren't up to what she thinks is proper. Like the bathroom, the sink drain, there's like a brand new one in there last week or a couple weeks ago. And she's like, the one you had was just disgusting. So I had to go out and get you a new one. I'm like, yeah, I don't know why it's infuriating, but it is. But I'll take the free stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's infuriating for like a week, and then you're like, pretty nice.
It is a nice
If a
drain.
parent wants to like pitch in $20 for Pete, you take it. You say yes.
Listen, if my dad wants to spot me at 20, I'm fucking taking it. Everybody giving you shit about that mutt, I'm taking the 20. If he wants to give me a 40, 60, like bring it on.
Anywhere from $20 to $199 is fine. Once you hit 200,
once you hit
I'm
200.
Yes, yeah, we've learned that the hard way, unfortunately.
I'm with him.
With some KMS third chairs, yeah.
So, boys, I missed practice. I'm sorry that
we're aware. We're aware, John. We know.
Definitely looked like some good team building. I saw. Mutt, was that you with that absolute dime of a pass to Coleman that he just flubbed completely?
Yep.
I don't know. It was all sort of a blur. There were many passes that went off Coleman's hands. There were many expletives that I yelled at. I I don't know when the video is going to come out, the full video. There's been dribs and drabs of it. I think at some point there'll be like a full breakdown of practice. I rode Coleman. Pat can either agree or disagree, but I had to play 3-on-3 with Coleman for multiple games, and he had a massive size advantage, John. And the dude cannot fucking catch a basketball in the post. Excuse my foul language on your show, but he missed layup after layup after layup after layup after layup. And at one point, it's me, Justin Trudell, and Jack Coleman trying to play against Kirk, Pat Ford, and Beanbag Ron. And I said to Kirk,
was that a punishment?
People kept coming in and out there. Again, I want to save. I don't want to go too basketball centric. I think the show I want to save but some people in practice had a hard time staying on the court in practice, and so people were being subbed in and out quickly, and that was my team.
Yeah,
it felt like Jordan in '86 trying to carry that Bulls team with Justin and Jack. I still suck. So
the best part about that, remember the video that came out of Coleman making the layup? I think I screamed from the corner, like, let's go, Coleman. They ran it back in slow motion today, and he traveled. He jumped up, he landed, shot. It was a blatant travel. But no, it was a good practice, John. We're not going to tell you our strategy. Once we're off recording, we'll talk about the things that Coach told us at practice.
Coach, yep.
Unfortunately, you missed some of the running.
There was a lot of running.
There was, but I feel great. I feel this.
I do too.
This basketball team, being a part of it, has taken over my life for whether it's good or bad. It's all I think about.
Hand raised, yeah.
It's all I think about. Like after this, so my son's asleep, my wife's at work. I am putting on my headlamp and I'm just going to run up and back in front of my house because I can't go too far in case he wakes up. I'm just going to run in front of my house for like an hour. Like I am locked in.
Robin is going to hate that so much.
Fuck Robin. I don't care if she's listening. But no, huge game on Thursday. I think we had a good practice, Mutt. I really do. I think we worked out some stuff. And I know Coleman had a rough go of it, but that compared to how he performed in the game, that practice, I feel better about him on Thursday. And I don't know if Justin's going to play or not. We won't go into it too much, like you said. But he was definitely the most gassed, but he was also probably one of the guys that sat out the least.
He wouldn't come out. He didn't want to come out. He definitely, after practice, was feeling it. For sure. We'll talk about it on the show this week. But if you're doing stock up, stock down, the biggest stock up in practice was Pat Ford. He can't say it, but Pat Ford, I thought he had a great practice.
People are saying, yep.
I had a good practice.
If my son was there, he ranked him in his top 3 of the practice players that was there. The stock up Coleman. I thought Coleman, as the practice went on, he wasn't complaining about the criticism. I think sometimes the problems I've had with him as the producer of the show is he is super sensitive and not accepting to criticism that everyone, listeners and show and everyone criticize him for it. Well, no, I don't believe it. With basketball, he was more accepting of the criticism and actually I thought used it as motivation as practice went on Saturday.
And I'd like to take this moment to make a statement to Mick. I went up to Mutt in the parking lot afterwards, and basically I was like, you were ragging on Mick out there pretty hard. And the first thing you said, you were like, no, I wasn't. I think some of your yelling at Coleman got misconstrued for yelling at Mick. So we want Mick to know we were not yelling at him. It was at Coleman.
I was not yelling at Mick at all. I think Mick is doing everything he possibly can to help out.
I agree.
And I'll leave it at that. It was all directed at Coleman for missing. He's the biggest guy there. And he could not hit a fucking layup. And when you're trying to play against Kirk and Beanbag Ron and Pat Ford and occasionally Gus, who I got in a little tuffle with, but we shook it off. I need every layup I can get against those guys. And he would just stand there like this and get 2 feet from the hoop and not hit a layup. Fucking layup.
When he kept his hand up against Kirk, but Pat was scoring the layup, that was the funniest video I've seen in such a long, because he just held it there. You walked right by him and scored, and he kept his hand up in front of Kirk's face like it was doing anything.
That was tough. Great. That was tough. But again, I think stock up on Coleman. I think he can help us in the game on Thursday. I do wish I'm not questioning Coach on this, but I wish that one of the producers had stayed on Thursday and scouted that whole game.
They did.
I would have loved to have a full scouting report.
They did
on the team we're playing. Apparently they lost. But I only watched a couple minutes of the game before I bailed out of there. I would love to have scouting report on that team.
Do you remember? Are we playing the red team or the white team?
Coleman claims I think they said they stayed for the whole game.
Okay, then I didn't get that scouting report yet. Okay,
we know some stuff about their transition speed and the schemes that they like to play. So we'll tell. We don't want them to even know if they're watching this right now. They probably are statistically with the views. We get stragglers from all over the world. We don't want them to have anything. We'll sync up because we do know some stuff about them that we can use to our advantage.
Do you think other teams are practicing?
What's that?
Do you think other teams are practicing?
No. I don't think anyone's putting in the fucking effort we're putting in.
I think mentally, we probably cost ourselves a little bit by thinking Prodigy 30U was going to be some unbelievable AU all-star team. They were fine. Excuse me, some good players. They weren't a super team. I just want to echo what you said. I care about this team too much right now. Yeah. It's going to affect some things on Thursday nights. I can tell.
We love our wives, by the way. Everyone here as a group, we all love the women we're married to. If they're listening, please just forgive us for this illness that we have.
I'm like, it's 2 months and maybe 2 months of the playoffs.
Yep.
And it was, I think I told you the conversation was like, because the Saturday was the Preakness, and I historically have made my own crab cakes on Preakness Day as like a little thing for the house. And my wife was like, "Are you gonna make crab cakes?" And I said, "I'll probably just get them from this local place because of practice." And she's like, "The boys don't have practice."
You're like, well, some of them.
And I said, "No, it's the KMS basketball practice." And she said, "Really?"
Yeah, when I told her it could go from Thursdays to Thursdays and Saturdays, she's just like, something has there's got to be some leeway here.
Yeah, it went from like Thursdays is like you're gonna die out there, but like I get it, and then it went from Thursdays you're gonna die out there. I get it to like, are you kidding me? You're driving to Braintree High School to run for an hour with a bunch of. The best part was I told my wife, I was like, "Yep, the first 10 minutes was we just ran. She looks at me, she's like, a grown man is just telling you to run and you're running. She's like, what has happened to you? I'm like, that's just my life now. You gotta get with it. But my wife, she's due in 3 months. I have the built-in like, listen, when the baby's here, I won't be able to do any of this stuff.
That's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm. So I got that in my pocket.
That is pretty good.
But John, I know you weren't at practice, but I thought you put yourself very well in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have a good basketball sense. You can move around. You sort of understood. I feel much better about the team this Monday than I would have felt last Monday. Yes, and you were a big part of that in the game on Thursday.
Yeah, I feel better about the team too, especially looking at the competition. I get in this mode where I'm overly concerned about takeaways. Like, I don't want to be the guy who gives the ball away. So then I play a little bit more timid when I think about that. And I think shout out John from Scranton, when you watched his breakdown video, he went on an absolute tirade about how if you play confident, you play better. And that spoke to me a little bit. So next week, I understand I'll probably have limited minutes, no starting ability because I missed practice. And I will have to talk to coach about that. And I will have to face coach about that. But the time that I do get out there, I want to make sure that I am assertive. I'm not a pussy. And I continue to try to move around without the ball because I think that's important. We need to get back on defense. And I think we need to set screens. Those are a lot of the things that I was thinking about. Of course, I'm sure you guys talked about all that and more at practice, though.
We have to be prepared to lose a teammate here. We might be losing I think he's probably a shooting guard of the team / stroke victim. He's potentially moving to Chicago if this all works out. So we might be down a guy.
That is true.
I hadn't thought about it. He's a good energy guy, too. He's a good energy guy. But
good vomit guy.
Go Gus.
Is there anything funnier than the still shot of his face just sliding across the floor? Like, there was no even a thought to brace himself with anything on his body other than his nose, his mouth. Yeah.
Just his face. So.
Like, and he predicted it. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna jump, I'm gonna dive, I'm gonna scrap," and then
he also predicted 8.7 rebounds and 6 assists. So there are things we need to meet in the middle on some certain things. We all do. We all need to look inward. We will.
Yeah, I've had to, because the turnover. John's breakdown was excellent. I didn't watch every second of the 2 hours, but I watched plenty of it, and he was critical of my turnovers. And he's right. I admit my MO says I'm going to make a couple great passes, and people, wow, what a pass! I'm also going to chuck the ball into the stands, and I got to be. I got to be better at that, but be prepared. That is sort of the way I play, and I coach these youngsters here in town, push the ball at every turn. That's not our team style, so I have to back away from that, but I got to cut down on the 2 turnovers in that second half. Cannot happen again.
We got to sacrifice the body. I am going to hurt myself out there on Thursday, and I'm going to do it with pride for the team. I'm going after every loose ball. I'm not going to leave. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave
I think the hustle shown from not only Gus, as we just discussed, but also Ron, showing his heart out there. Didn't it make you want to kind of, again, look inward and say, well, if he's going to give that much effort and sacrifice the body, I need to do the same for my team.
Yep. Agreed. 100%.
I suggest the coach, who is soon to be 50 years old, not coming off the court was also a motivating factor for me. Like,
absolutely.
How can you leave the court? How can you want to leave if the coach won't leave the court and he's yelling at Belmont High kids and opposing coaches and referees?
That was a look inward moment as well. Even in practice, I was dying for water. He's like, I'm 50 years old. You guys, I'm like, yep, that's a great point. Back out there.
And I will I got one more stock up. Just, you can say we don't want the snacks. The hydration levels have been tremendous through a game and a practice. Justin has had regular waters, vitamin water zero, which I never had before, which I'm now a fan of. This Rise vitamin water zero. It's a good job by Justin. Hydration will not be a factor. Every player should be hydrated, and Justin's doing an excellent job with that. I think.
Shout out Justin.
Big night Thursday.
Absolutely.
All right, Mutt, you got to jump.
Yes.
You're welcome along as long as you'd like.
There's 2 reasons. Well, one, the boys are about to go to bed, but I'm serious. I was sending you guys messages back and forth. I like when you guys have a guest on. I think Blind Mike stepped in admirably when needed for a full show. I don't want to ruin the chemistry here. Like there is something when there's CPAP talk and we're trying to decide, can I go to this brunch? Can I take a shit in this guy's house? I'm worried about it. Like I don't want to step on that. I'm a listener. I'm a fan. I'm a number one. What are your fans called? What are the drip? Is it Drip Nation? No, it can't be Drip Nation.
I've heard driplets thrown around.
Droplets, drizzles.
Yeah. Not for us to decide, I suppose.
Squirts. If I'm a drizzle, I'm a drizzle, because I'll just say that right now, and I don't want to step on that. And I feel like you guys do a better job with the KMS stuff than I would do. So I'm happy to come on and talk lawn. There's a lot of kid stuff we could do. I'm fighting. You guys aren't there yet, I don't think, because your kids are a little bit younger, but we are now in the absolute throes of what is good and bad YouTube. And there is some terrible fucking YouTube out there, and it is mindless. And when you tell them to turn it off during a video, it's like you told them their life is over. And we are dealing with that on a nightly basis right now. So
we're in that. I'm kind of in that too. Like, we try to stay away from YouTube because he sees one video he likes where it's like dinosaurs. You click it, and it's like just some fucking guy with fake. He's playing with toy dinosaurs, like washing them in the water. I'm like, this can't be good. But then the algorithm only puts that shit in there, even though it's kid shows, and then he'll see one and be like, that one. And if you don't do it, he gets angry. So I'm not at the point where you're at, but YouTube's the devil. I'm a Disney Plus guy.
Yeah, YouTube's crazy. Bluey. I feel like Bluey's great. Bluey's for the adults. I've realized that show is for us. I think it's like, all right, if you're gonna have to sit through some sort of cartoon, let it be Bluey. The dad's hilarious.
1,000%.
But with YouTube, the algorithm, you're always only maybe 3 videos away before sitting in front of some sort of Chinese communist propaganda cartoon. Like, every single time.
Every time.
And that's
the ones they like too. So.
and that I've now got to the point where they're on the family plan, so I can turn their iPads off my phone, and that's the only thing that works. It's the only threat that works right now. And as we were talking about this, I can hear the volcano starting to rumble upstairs. So this is a great time for me to go and step in and say, "Hun,
go fight the battle."
I talked to Patrick and John. I explained the lawn thing. I admitted that I poured urine in our backyard. I think I've said enough.
Everything's
for tonight.
out in the open.
Yeah, it's out there now. My neighbors, they don't care. They know I'm an idiot anyway. That's what, again, different show. But anytime you want to come on, and I can come on and talk with you guys and not ruin the good stuff, I would love to come on and drip and droplet all over the show.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you for joining us this fine.
Thank you guys. I'll see you Thursday.
What's that, everybody?
Whatsack.com.
That's right. Make sure you're subscribing. I certainly am.
Yep.
So what?
Thank you, Mutt. What a great the pH stuff. Like that is, I've been doing it wrong for like years. I think it's aggravating, but it is what it is. We start over. That's
Sending
good.
in a panel. I kind of like the idea of him peeing in the yard and then scooping dirt from said yard and sending it to a college. Something about that is romantic.
Yeah, all your levels are fine except there's urine in the grass,
Yeah.
like a lot of it.
Yeah, there's alcohol in your yard. So we had we'll stay on the kid topic for a second here. We had soccer. Kids soccer is becoming a theme on the show.
We should have never done this, John.
It was pouring rain on Saturday, and they're telling us to check the app if it's going to be canceled or not.
At least you have an app.
Yeah,
ours is like, we'll call you. I'm like, no, you won't. You're not going to call 20 parents.
No, nobody's calling anybody. So we're out there in the rain, and it was. I actually think it might have kept him engaged a little bit because last week it was a disaster zone. He freaked out, and we had to leave. So I think there was something about being in the rain with the other kids that actually helped him stick around. But now, and we brought our other son, and now he's sick. So I think standing outside in the rain for an hour probably wasn't the best idea. But whatever. Parents of the year.
I had the kicker. It's like a 12 to 15-minute ride to get there. We're at like the 7-minute mark, and it's silence in the back of the car. I'm like, oh shit. I look in the mirror because he's forward facing now. I look at the back of the mirror. He's asleep. I'm like, oh, this is going to be bad when we get there. It can go one of two ways. If he sees he's at the aquarium or he's at daycare or preschool or whatever you call it, he's pumped. Oh, fishies or Miss Katie? Like gets up and goes. When he saw the soccer field, was just no. I got him out of the car. I carried him over. He refused to leave my arms. I want to go home. I'm like, oh, we tried it for like 20 minutes. Didn't work. What a disaster. This is not going well.
So was that 2 weeks in a row? It was a little bit tough?
No, the first week was great, but my wife was the one that was there and she was doing all the interactive stuff.
Yep.
That was my first solo go. It didn't go well.
So we also have Father's Day coming up. And other than my birthday, I think it's my kid's favorite holiday. For sure.
Make you cards and stuff. They love that to see that. Absolutely. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Are you hinting at I don't know. Do you want something? Do you want an add-on for your grill? Do you want what are you doing? Are you looking for anything at all?
There was something I thought of that I wanted today that I think was outrageous, but I can't remember exactly what it was. No, golf Father's Day, I just want 4 hours to play 18 holes of golf. Without, and not that my wife does it, but like it's like basketball practice sometimes. When do you ask? Now, if it's Saturday and you have a 2-year-old, like without the kid, it was no problem. It was like, yeah, go ahead and have fun. Do you ask on Monday? Because when you ask on Monday, you get, I don't know, we have so much stuff could pop up by then. Now, if you ask on Friday for Saturday, you're asking last minute. I don't want to have to deal with any of that. I just want to say Father's Day, 18 holes. My cell phone's off. That's it. That's all I ask.
So glorious.
What do you want, John?
I was looking at so for the grill, there's like a griddle that you can put on. So instead of buying a grill, you can just buy the actual like plate,
like the blacktop thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it comes with a press, so you could do like smash burgers with it. So I was looking at that because I kind of thought it'd be cool to go out in the summer and like make breakfast out on the grill, throw a couple eggs on there, throw some bacon on the grill. So I'd like to pretend I'm a big grill guy this summer. Speaking of which, what kind of grill do you have? Are you propane? What are you working with?
Propane. I'm a big grill guy. Yeah, I usually do is cook steaks and chicken out there. I have no fucking idea how to use that grill. I cooked burgers last year and the burgers disintegrated and they fell into the burner and it caught on fire. It was flames just pouring out of the fucking thing.
You might need a griddle.
That'd be good.
Have you ever gone to like exchange the propane tanks, like buy new propane tanks?
Yes.
For some reason,
you sound like you have some.
Well, I just never know what to say or do. Like, I'm like, oh, I got these empty ones. I guess it's just as easy as just telling them they're empty and they just exchange them for you. But for some reason, I don't feel man enough to like go.
I
And talk
brought
to the
it.
guy.
I didn't bring it the first time. I'm like, hey, can I grab a propane tank? And they're like, yeah, do you have yours? I'm like, no, I left it at home. And I can't remember if they let me get a new one because you have to return it, right?
At some places, I think you do.
I think it was one of those places. And it was just, that's exactly it. It's an uncomfortable experience because like Ocean State right up the street has one. You have to go to the counter and they have to say, all right, hold on. They're obviously pissed about, you have to go around the side of the building. They have to unlock it, trade it, ring it out. It's a whole mess. My wife.
They always look so annoyed that you're even there.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Same with ice. You get ice like that sometimes too. If the ice is locked outside and you want to grab a couple bags of ice, it's like, yeah, just give me a minute. I'll ring it up. It's like, I'm sorry. I'm trying my best here. I'm giving it my all.
And sometimes the ice, they want cash. And that's a whole thing.
Wow.
You haven't seen that?
Sketchy place.
Yeah. Actually, they have this like a standalone ice thing. It's just like on the side of the road off of a parking lot. It's completely automated. You just walk up like a soda machine. You just pay.
Does
how many
ice
pounds you want
down a chute? I saw a funny video once where a lady like made her husband hold the bag down the tray, like thinking ice was just going to pour out into the bag, and the whole thing came out. I gotta find one of those.
They're pretty cool. I was actually looking into like seeing how you could become like a franchise owner of those because they're relatively inexpensive, and you just plop them somewhere, and people are just like giving you money basically.
That's like I see on TikTok all the time. People who own like laundromats.
And ATM machines too.
I come here once a week and I just grabbed $3,000. Like I don't think that's how it works.
No,
but,
I don't think anything on TikTok's real.
You ever been to Sonic?
Yeah, I've been to Sonic. Yeah, there's one in Somerset.
They have the best ice.
The best ice. Go on.
The small cubes, the small little square cubes. Oh, they charge you $1 for a cup of ice because I asked for one. That's how good it is.
They know how good they have it.
Yeah,
So
1,000%.
for it. Yeah.
1,000%. Styrofoam cups too. It's a home run.
Yeah,
absolute home
run. What else do we have here?
Ooh, I wanted to get into AI.
Okay, go ahead.
Have you incorporated this into your workforce at all?
No, well, no, only like transcribing voice to text. Like I don't have to listen to voicemails anymore. I can just read them if I need to. And all of my conversations on the phone, if I do it through our dialer, get transcribed, and I can have them like emailed to me. But no, it seems like you're taking it a step further.
Kind of. We were at that Parking Council, New England Parking Council conference the other day, and they had a speaker for like a half an hour talking about AI. And I chose to listen, even though I tune out on some of those because it was kind of boring. But like I asked AI to like create me a basic spreadsheet as a test. I forget how I did it. I think I typed it through something, but it like did it. And I kind of keep it up on one of my monitors now. And if I have to look up something, like a lot of my stuff is through Salesforce, where I'm like going in and plugging in information at locations. So if I'm looking at a parking garage, I'll go to AI and be like, give me the history of this garage, like when it was built, how many space, and like it has all that shit.
And that's stuff that you would normally punch in yourself, like, or
I would go in and be like, I would Google how many spaces before I got there, how many spaces, how many levels, when was it built, last time it was modified. You just basically pull like the history from that garage through AI, and it gives you just a whole it gives you a transcription of everything.
Does that scare you? Because you would have done that research before, and now it cuts you out.
1,000%. AI is going to get dangerous. Like I'm seeing videos online of like people at like Kyrie Irving at his post-game press conference, and like his voice matched up to the words like, "We've made it to the Western Conference Finals more times than the entire Clippers organization. I'm better than anybody." Like, he said something like that, and I was like, "What the fuck is this guy going on about?" That's gonna be a problem. I'm gonna get duped constantly.
You are historically a dupe guy, so
I fall for
definitely gonna stay on your toes.
Still blocked by that Patrick Pass guy. I'm still bummed about that.
That was a funny
that was a good one
right there. Yeah, Salesforce, when you use Salesforce, is that through your works account, or can you be like could I just get Salesforce even though my company doesn't use it?
I'm pretty sure you can, and it's pretty useful. Probably pretty useful for you too. because I basically put everything in there so it has like a section for leads, so like stuff you're going after, and it has like opportunities, and it tracks everything in live time of like what kind of deal it is, how much, cost, all that stuff. So you guys don't use it?
We're using like the system that we use for everything. Like our patient database has a sales like tab that you can get permission to, but it's not. It's good for like note taking, but it doesn't do much else. And there's not like a lot of customization. So I'm looking for something. I'm probably going to go on the App Store or whatever and try to find something, because I want to organize all my leads and all my notes, kind of like you just said. And a lot of times I feel like I'm doing double of the work. So I have an Excel. So I'll write down all the places that I'm either visiting or calling, putting the date, maybe putting a contact in their email, and then a note about my visit. Oh, met with so-and-so today. They said best time to visit our Tuesdays and Thursdays. Here's how much of the business, we can give for our share, whatever. But so I'm writing this in my Excel. So I kind of have like a book of business in Excel, but then I have to go into my system and write the same exact thing again, which is getting a little bit annoying.
The cool part about it is when you put in an opportunity, like say you're going to look at some medical center and you know the person who your contact point's email address is, you plug that into Salesforce, and anytime and then you sync your Salesforce to your Outlook, anytime you correspond with that person, it automatically feeds the email into Salesforce. So you have like all the records there. Look into it. Nice tool.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right. No free ads. So I've got a few more topics here, but there's nothing stopping us from saving these until next week, because we're at the 47-minute mark. If we want to just touch on some KMS stuff,
let's do it.
And then we'll get out of here. We've got Justin's Twitter account we can get into. Justin visiting New Jersey.
Yep.
Coleman's pizza take overall.
Jesus.
Your boy Kane had a firecracker of a performance on KMS. So I mean, we've got a few different ways we can start. Per usual, I'll let you jump in where you want.
Justin had to have been hacked, right?
It's one of those crazy bits, maybe.
It is. I just don't see the end. I don't see the end goal, but maybe this is the end goal. Everyone's kind of talking about it.
Right.
Everybody thinks
he was just completely serious.
He could have been completely serious, and he just really loves Taylor Swift like a lot. I liked it regardless, but I'm excited to find out tomorrow. Mondays, and I don't ever like to promote the other network because of the dictator that runs it, but very appreciative of those guys putting that out at Monday at 9:30 when there was no show today.
Yep, good thought.
That was nice. That was a nice touch.
I thought BA was great.
We'll agree to disagree. If John, yes, that would be great. I'll have to change my whole mentality on life, but I'd be okay with that. Whatever Kirk wants and John wants, and not me. That's fine.
Man, I hate to do this to you, but I'm a Bender's guy too, man.
He's fine.
Deep down, I really.
He's just delusional.
I really am. Well, yeah. Of course, and that I think that makes it great.
No, maybe I am looking at the whole thing wrong, and I totally admit that. I used to find it to be the funniest Minute fan. Like I tuned in every Friday night to Menners, to whatever he had going on. I listened to it, but then the humor went away. I think the humor's starting to come back. He unblocked me. I'm not unblocking him, just for moral ethics.
Sure.
But he comes off to me as somebody who all he does, if you look at like his comments, it's all negative. Like if you hate the show, that's fine, but just butt out. But I'm probably looking at it wrong. If he came back, that would be just great.
Yeah. Well, I think one way or another, the man is certainly back. Like he was steadfast in his denial that he would do like meet in the middle at all with John from Scranton, and he's part of these negotiations, and now he's kind of crept back. He allowed the simulcast, so I do think we might start seeing some agreements made, some hands being shook, but we'll see. I actually agree. There was a time where you were saying,
"I'm in the middle of something. I'm in the middle of something. Please."
So that's not the new one. That's
the OG.
No, the new one. anyone stays outside.
Looks
That's right.
just like her. When we saw him outside the other day, my wife was like, "Oh my god, you left the window open." But twins. That's a fucking zoo around here. I'm surprised that hasn't happened before. What were we saying? Manners is great. No.
I was being super drippy. I don't even remember what I was saying. I think it was so boring.
Good. Perfect. I like it. Coleman tweets about the pizza place. Somebody tweeted me this the other day, or they didn't tweet me. I just saw it and I was like, "That's so true." His like bullet point responses to Mike were like, number one, Jersey has more pizza places. Everybody locked into that. Point number two was, I've only lived in this house since 2015.
Yeah. Yep.
Even crazier, borderline.
Yeah. We're getting on 10 years now.
Yeah. I've only lived here since 2017. Like, I understand where the pizza places are.
Yeah.
I get it. It's different demographics. Maybe it's more spread out. Fine. But also a crazy point. I hope Coleman never changes. We thought we were going to get this boring Barstool guy who came in, who was just going to be a good producer. Justin was going to be a little more wacky. But Coleman is just, he's a weird little onion. You just keep pulling back these layers of, there's always something. It's every time when Steve leaves, you think, oh, we're fucked. Like, oh, cool, it's going to be Dave. He does this fun little video. Great, I love Dave. Now it's like, oh, fuck, Dave's leaving. Like, you get this Barstool kid in here, and Justin. You know, like, this is going to suck compared to that. Like, I haven't even seen, like, the gap. Like, I don't know. It's always, Kirk, we live in madness, and it's great madness.
I think it's funny that not only peeling back things about maybe his personality or maybe he'll start opening up, but it's even just like the footage. Like, you come into this knowing that things get exposed, right? So I feel like the idea should be, hey, I was in this basketball league that we took video of. Like, don't you know that at some point that's going to come out? Yet when it inevitably does,
Jimmy.
Yeah, you get surprised. Like, oh, where did
Shout
Jimmy
out
come
Chevy.
from? How did he get this footage? It's like, well, dude, you knew this was eventually. You knew this footage was going to come out, right? You have to.
Yeah. One of my good friends, shout out Chevy Petersburg. He's kind of new to the show, and he like at first he just doesn't. He was like, "What the fuck is this Coleman guy's deal?" And now he kind of like gets all of it. Coleman's an interesting character for sure. You never really know. Shout out Chevy though. You want me to say that?
No, I've brought up Warren where I live multiple times, but the legend grows because not even just the state of Rhode Island, but my town, if I'm allowed to include Papagino's, we have 3 pizza spots, which is, I'm telling you, dude, I got to talk to Coleman personally about this to let him know that there's 3 in my town. So we're basically on the same level as New Jersey, higher in some regards.
I have 3, I think, within a mile in Warwick. Warwick's just like a little dump. Like, I don't even know what Warwick is.
There's a ton of pizza in Warwick, though.
Yeah,
I was driving through Warwick today. Pizza spots left
Thanks
and
for
right.
texting.
It was like a 4:30 situation.
Oh yeah, no, I'd be toast. Toast. Good call.
Yeah.
Good call. Yeah, it's always something with these guys. But let's get right into the guests this week because there was some. I'm pulling them up here because I wrote them down. Mick and Mike was the first show.
Yep.
Mick's, everybody's like, oh, Mick's not himself. Of course he's not himself. He's going through life changes. He doesn't feel well. Maniacs have to stand by him. Everyone stop. Everyone stop.
That was, I was so close to telling you how impressive that was because I thought I was going to hear silence when you're done with that.
This place is apologies. If you wake him up, I'll fuck it.
I think even a subdue Mick I like, and I also don't want to. It would suck for Mick to get into this trap where every single time the camera goes on him or a microphone's in his face, he has to be wacky.
Correct.
Then you get like pigeonholed into that character.
You have to have ups and downs.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like he sits there like silent and nervous.
No,
he's still engaged in the conversation. You just get people who are like, oh, he didn't have one of these breakout performances again. It's like, all right, well, if he's going to come on the show 100 times, he's not going to storm out every single time. It just doesn't work.
People are just used to the craziness and the antics, and he drums it up a little bit, but I think he can be normal at times. And I do think he's not feeling well. I hope he feels better. Just lay off the kid, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I think what might have hurt him a little bit was Brother Al trying to drum up some controversy online, and then it didn't necessarily deliver on the show. So I think that might have been.
We should start calling him. We should start calling him. I just thought of this. We should start calling him Brother All because it's all about Al.
Wow, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That'll track. That's definitely
I
gonna track.
I got mixed back.
All right, who else do we have on the show this week?
Copperdoodle and Max.
Who else do we have on the show? Who else do we have on the show this week?
I wanted Max, who was like, I'm a bit of a coxman. That's what he said his first time on, which is great. But Max fell flat. Not a good Max showing. Copperdoodle was fine. His voice makes me laugh.
His voice. Oh no, or is it?
But I wish he brought out the Copperdoodle voice.
Yeah, I thought at one point we were going to get that. Yeah, you definitely, by the way, get. Speaking of the Coxman, you get kind of into his madness when talking about how he was upset at his sister-in-law because she didn't want to watch him have sex on a twin bed 2 feet away.
That gets overlooked. That was a strange moment, which was good.
And then when he got called out on it, he was like, "Oh, you gotta pick your spots." When the opportunity strikes.
He doesn't like people talking. I don't think anybody really talked about him, but he's like, yeah, just because I haven't been on the show doesn't mean I haven't been listening. It's like, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
10-4. We'll make a note.
I think BA brought it up on 3 Up 3 Down too. He was like, Kirk asked him a question and he's like, "Oh, you asked me that last time." It's like, dude, what are you like? We weren't really thinking about it.
I've been guilty of that though, because like Kirk said something about peanuts once, and I was like, peanuts? He's like, what the fuck you talking about?
I'm allergic to peanuts.
Brother, listen. Tuesday. And then we had Gus and my new nickname for Ron, which I thought about before the show, Bucket Bag Ron.
Bucket Bag Ron. He's a hustler. He's a beast. The man is in great shape. I think I'm on my way of getting there. I don't
Jesus, yeah.
Notice, but
when I first saw him, I was like, oh boy, like they had that month of hate when they did their show, him and McFuss, and like they didn't like me. I would have backed down a lot too if I knew Ron was chiseled like that. That brother can hang. Like no way.
He's got ups too.
Yeah, he can fly.
Yeah, he really can. He had, this has probably been discussed on a couple different shows, but he had one of the funnier comments on that episode when he asked if Cinema Lord, if his pockets were going to be empty, if the cargo shorts pockets were going to be empty. That made me laugh out loud. That was a great line.
No, the best. Ron had a sneaky good line in that show where they were talking about the drive into the studio, and like they were talking about stuff they talked about, and then Gus started to get political. It was like, oh yeah, that's what politicians do. And like Ron very subtly was like, oh yeah, we talked about this on the ride in too.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. And we had the most anticipated, exhilarating show in months, borderline years, where the killer, the madman himself, Kane is Abel, took on the studio. And boy, did he not disappoint.
Yeah, I wish I could, I can't. I think I'm going to try to defend Kane here.
Hold on. Before you do that, I just wanted to point out on their show, 3 Up, 3 Down, that we do promote that when he was talking about himself as a down, how he didn't perform and wasn't as great as he thought he would be, the first person he wanted to compare himself to was John and Warren. Well, I went back and listened to John and Warren. He was kind of flat his first time on. So before you go, John, I just want you to have all the facts before you start your defense, which I'm all for. Go right ahead. Defend Kane. He's a good guy, which he is. I do like Kane. But go ahead.
Well, no, I thought the craziest part of the whole thing is just the way he spoke about being in there and the reason why he was a little subdued. The man was in awe. The man was in absolute awe. The man was starstruck. He was like, if I'm Kirk, you got to start being a little bit worried that he's going to show up to Harry's baseball games. Like we're definitely getting to that territory. I think
Blind Mike was to his left.
Yep.
Kirk was right there. He's just so welcoming.
Yep.
It was very classy move by Kane. I respect that. Kiss in the ring. But doesn't fit. I think
the issue people like that have is when you're a show critic online, it's definitely tough to keep that energy when you step into the studio and not, because I think there's this element of, unless you're an absolute dickhead, you don't want to
Which
walk
he's
in
not.
there. No,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. And if you are, maybe that's even better, because then the persona remains the same. You sit in that chair and you fight back and you're just a douche through and through. But when you're just a show critiquer online and you're doing more critiquing than praising, and then you step into that studio and everyone looks at you like the show criticizer, if you don't bring the fire, it feels like you're trying to kind of maybe hate for the sake of hating. It doesn't come across all that well. So I think that happened to him a little bit. There were definitely a nerve factor involved.
Yeah.
And then he just is a magnet, I think, for some of the negative stories, like the pancreatic cancer kind of brought the show down a little bit.
What are you
But
doing? You're trying to go back.
There's been worse third chairs. He did
Oh, yeah,
fine. It was
I loved it.
it wasn't as bad as the chatter made it seem.
By me. No, the one thing I would say, he came in there with the cringy Papagenos video, the tweet about him telling Justin that he can hang out with his young daughter. You knew this stuff was going to come up. You got to wear it a little bit. You got to wear it a little bit better. That's all. I want to see Kane back in there again. I want to see Kane back in there next week and the following week and the week after that. I want it all the time. But that's just me. I'm sick in the head.
Well, you're aligning yourself with Menners.
What was it?
You're aligning yourself with Menners. He wants Kane in there once a week. So maybe you guys aren't as far away, intellectually as you thought you were.
Mm-hmm. Good point, John. Very good point.
Oh, that's what I do.
Very good point. Mine was a little more sarcastic, but that's okay. No. Kane is a nice guy behind all of it, but oh God, it was good to see him go in there and lay an egg on Friday. My God, that got me. That's rivaling the Mick episode of how many times I've listened to it over.
Oh
and
no,
over and over. Mm-hmm.
You coming up on your 10th listen?
I'm probably like 6 or 7.
Yeah,
especially after today. I got one in today too.
All right, what else you got? Anything?
Do I have anything else? Let me just check my notes here. I hope Gus gets the job at PMT. That's it.
Yeah. So good luck, Gus. Hashtag
Go Gus, go.
Bus. The train is rolling. The bus is moving.
Bus
See
is
you guys
moving.
next week.
That's all I got. Adios. NC.
And cut.